The Last of Us Season 1 has finished its run on HBO. It's an adaptation of an acclaimed video game from 2013. It was made by Neil Druckmann, who wrote the game, and Craig Mazin, who made Chernobyl. It stars Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, and is, I dare say, the first really genuinely good live-action adaptation of a video game. What we had thus far was usually pretty bad, sometimes mediocre, sometimes okay at best. Between the Resident Evils, Silent Hills, Assassin's Creed, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Need for Speed, recently with an okay adaptation of Sonic. But The Last of Us truly stands above them as a show that really works even if you're not a fan of the game. The first episode starts with an outbreak of a pandemic of parasitic fungus that turns people into, well, zombies, effectively. And then halfway through this first episode, there's a time jump, skipping to the actual period in which the story takes place, which is 20 years later. Humanity huddles together in a few remaining surviving camps, towns, cities, and quarantine zones in a world that was overrun, struggling to survive in this world that is now much more hostile. Joel, played by Pedro Pascal, is one such survivor, and an unlikely coincidence forces him to accept a job. He is to escort a teenage girl named Ellie to scientists who can study her, because apparently she's immune to the fungus. And in the course of the journey, the two of them bond as they try to survive the various dangers that await them. So I haven't really played the game. I only ever once saw a friend of mine play through the prologue of the game. But from what I saw in the comments online, the show overall is pretty faithful to the original story. It does change some things, but largely keeps the spirit intact, and it does feature a lot less action, comparatively speaking. But that honestly makes a lot of sense. When you play a game, you need to continuously do something interesting as a player in order to stay engaged, whereas in a TV show you can take things slower and much more dialogue focused. So what the show really is about perseverance of love and humanity in the face of an apocalypse. Humanity not in the sense of a group of humans, but humanity in the sense of this internal set of values and things we should care about. The underlying theme of most episodes are personal relationships, how people, how far people can go to protect the ones that they care about, how they learn to keep caring even as seemingly the world is ending all around them, and finally how to process grief after the inevitable loss. And I liked how the show explored all those things. I think that the writing and the performances are really good. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey have great chemistry together. There are also many memorable supporting roles in here, probably most notably Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett in episode 4, which is overall just beautifully done. I think the best of the whole season. And I know some people, especially players of the game, didn't enjoy the final episode as much. In one way, it is a bit anticlimactic, and from what I read, it also adds some ambiguity to, not to spoil anything, to the final decision made by one of the characters. And in the game, it was much clearer that there is a morally correct decision to be made there, whereas in the show it's much more debatable. But I think that makes it a lot more interesting. There is a sort of moral conundrum at the end which leaves you thinking, and so I enjoyed it about the show that it did change that thing. And I did enjoy the final episode about as much as I enjoyed the rest of the season, which is quite a lot. I think it's a very good show, and I will definitely check out the next seasons. Apparently, they're planning to do 2 more. They're splitting the second game into 2 seasons of content. So I expect more good stuff to come. For now, definitely recommend checking this one out.